This time we're going to take a closer look at images. Now we already talked a bit about image fills as they relate to rows, as we see here on our homepage with these two gentlemen. Clicking into the settings panel for the row brings up a section for you to change and customize the background image of any row on your page. But now I want to look at the actual image widget when we have an image placed within a row, as opposed to filling a row. Let's scroll down here to our Get a Free Quote section. Hovering my mouse over this chap here with the hard hat, we can see an outline of an image widget that's been placed here holding this guy in place. He's sitting inside of a row that has this blue gradient fill and sitting just to the left of an additional column here with our text and contact form. Let's click right on this dude. And we get a settings panel here for our image, as we see here labeled Image Content. Now the background looks different here, and that's because this is a PNG image, as we can see by the file name extension. PNGs allow for transparency, which is why everything around him is see-through, allowing you to see that whole gradient row fill behind him in the row. Now in our settings panel for the widget, we get a lot of the same options you would expect. Of course, we have an option here to replace. Let's click here. Just as before, we can scroll through all of our previously uploaded content or stock images and select a new one. Let's just pick a new one here for the sake of demo. And it swaps out just like that. Now this obviously isn't a great selection for this spot, since this one clearly hasn't been designed with the same transparency, but you can see how easy the function is. You also may notice how the size of the widget has changed. Remember, this is an image that's placed in the row. It's not filling anything. So the image widget will size itself to match the image so that the full image is displayed at all times. Now, if you need to crop the image or make other design changes, we can do that very easily here as well. For right now, I'm going to hit my undo button so we can work with our original image. There we go. Into the panel again, and now let's click here to edit. And here we get our very intuitive image editor in the builder. Now, many of you from previous platforms may have been irritated with the need to make changes to your images in an external software like Photoshop, and then re-export it and then re-upload it onto your site. Lots of steps, none of which are necessary here. We can make changes here to the image sizing, coloring, and even decorate it, all without ever needing to leave the builder. Let's click here to transform. Here we can crop our image very easily. We can use these corner grabbers here, and let's crop this up to his arms a bit closer. We also have a selection here of preset sizes and orientations, so if you needed to match a certain aspect ratio or perhaps a Facebook post or cover photo, you can do that very easily right here. Let's say that we needed this image to be square. Just click square. And the cropping adjusts immediately, allowing you to then shift it to display exactly where you want it. When you're done, click back with this arrow, and we can see our new cropping taking effect just like that. Feel free to then make any other changes that you want as well. You can click into filters and give this a particular look. You can go into adjust and change anything with the brightness, contrast, highlights, and so on. Let's say we just wanted to drop the exposure a bit. Let's click into it, and we'll drop it down a little. There we go. And again, when you're done, just click back. You can add text, stickers, blurring, frames, all kinds of stuff. And when you're completely done, click Save and Close here on the top. Give it a second to process, and your revised image will now display exactly where you left off. Now, of course, our new image here now isn't as tall as it was, so we can easily shift it down in the column if we want to. There we go. Into the settings panel one more time, let's click into the design section. We've got even more options in here, starting with the layout. It can have sharp corners, rounded corners, or completely round like we see down here with these testimonial images. You can adjust the sizing settings, add borders, and even a hover effect. Let's select opacity. And we'll close the panel, hover our mouse, and we've got a nice hover effect added in a flash. Before I close out, I'll mention you can always add new image widgets onto the page anytime you want. Simply open your widget library, select the image widget from the popular section, and drag and drop it anywhere on your page.